Good evening and welcome to Rajiv Gandhi IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And this is Nawazish Nehal, and today I'll be analyzing news for 19th January. So, moving on with the first news. So, the first news is about that Center tells Supreme Court that no one has died of hunger in recent times in India, and the Supreme Court questions on hunger deaths. So, the Union government insists on Tuesday that no one has died of starvation, and the key point here is starvation. Center has told that no one has died of starvation in recent time across the country, even during the pandemic. So even during the corona, no one has died due to starvation. This is the government stand of view, and court insists on specific data to back the claim of zero deaths. And they saw a scattered response from the government. And Attorney General Mr. Venugopal said that center was on the forefront in the food welfare scheme, and we have launched about 131 food related programs which is targeted on removing poverty and starvation and hunger. And the bench asked the center to explore the possibility of a model community kitchen. So model community kitchen possibility should be explored, this is said by the Supreme Court. And so that this can be applied across the various state. And the court is currently hearing a petition that highlights how starvation rates is like continue. And it's like one of the right to life, which is the basic fundamental right, which is so the starvation is against this right to life. So moving on with the news. So first we have to know what is hunger. So hunger is the condition where both adults and children cannot access food. So food cannot be accessed. That is the condition of hunger. And that should be constantly and have to decrease food intake or eat poor diets and often go away without any food. So every if anyone have any problem regarding this food, that will come under hunger. And according to Amrita Sen, as we all know, Nobel laureate, who was also a the economist, he said that the real cause of hunger is the lack of ability to pay for the food. So if someone is not paying for the food, that is the real cause of hunger. So basically, the cause of hunger can be basically divided into four types. The first is gender based cost, because some women might not be doing those kind of job which a man can do, means in a patriarchal society which we are living in. And also this powerlessness, means if someone is deprived of his power, he cannot have those kind of resources to pay for the food items. And also conflict is one of the reason due to which hunger can be can come. We can see that those are the those areas of the world which are conflict ridden, suppose Afghanistan and Yemen. These are in these kind of area hunger is more there. So conflict is one of the reason for hunger. And also one reason is population, because more the people sharing the resources, more is the starvation. And world hunger has many annoying factors, and major cause such as insufficient economic system is also there. Means if economic system is not working well, then hunger can come. So this is not the major cause, but also one of the cause. Economic insufficiency is one of the cost. And also main unbearable factor is poverty, as poverty always had led to people doing the going against not having the food. So main reason is poverty. Okay, so main reason is poverty. So whatever the issues people are facing in not having the food is can be traced back to poverty. And also one of the reason is also climate change, because due to climate change the resources are depleting, and the amount of rain that a country gets increase, and it can possibly lead to flooding. And flooding adversely affect how much food is produced and available. And these are the reason for poverty. And there are different issue of world hunger uh, which is linked to poverty. But the three main reasons are poverty, climate change, and economic. So these are the three reasons, basic three reason for hunger. First is poverty, and this is economic insufficiency, and third is climate change. These are the basic three reasons, and the cause are these basic four: gender, powerlessness, conflict, and population. So these are the cause. So moving on to the global hunger index, which is a report which says how countries are performing globally. So which when we see of India, this blue line is of India, we will see that during 2006 and 2012 the poverty in India reduced dramatically, because there were many government programs, and many people were getting out of poverty. So the hunger index also came down, and after 2012 the steep is not that much, and now India is even performing poorer than Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Nepal, which is when it comes to hunger. So what are the India's performance in this? So India is among 31 countries where hunger has been identified as serious issue. So 31 countries in the world are identified by this global hunger index, and in that India is also there, which where hungerness is a serious issue, and only 15 countries are worse than India. So we can see how much a big issue is there for India. And some of these countries are like Afghanistan, Nigeria, Congo. These countries are basically down than India, and India was also behind the most of the neighboring countries, as I have discussed here. It is behind Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Nepal. So this is the thing. And also Pakistan was placed at 92 rank. Pakistan was placed at 92nd rank. Nepal was placed at 76th rank, and Bangladesh also shared the same position at 76. Okay, so see, this is the point where they both meet. So this is the that India is performing poorer than Nepal and Bangladesh when it comes to hunger, or basically we can see so the hunger can give our can be a reason for starvation also. So what is the reason for India's such poor performance? So first reason could be poor maternal health. Poor maternal health. See, what is happening that mothers are too young, too short, too thin, and too undernourished themselves before they get pregnant, during pregnancy, and then after giving the birth, and during breastfeeding. So when mother is not in a good condition, it will affect the child also. Hence, this poor performance is there, and also poor sanitation is one of the cause. Why poor sanitation is the cause? Because this will lead to diarrhea. Okay, this will lead to diarrhea, and which is a major cause of wasting and stunting among children. And food insecurity is one of the reason. Food insecurity is one of the reason, because low dietary diversity in India is a key factor in, especially in child malnutrition. And we all know, as I have discussed earlier, poverty is one of the key here, because almost 50 million households in India are dependent on a small and marginal householding. So 50 million are still dependent on small holdings. So this is the reason. And also livelihood loss is the reason. Livelihood loss is the reason, because the rural livelihood loss after COVID and lack of income opportunities other than farm sector especially have contributed heavily to growing joblessness. So joblessness is increasing, so due to which, if joblessness is increasing, the livelihood loss will increase. Health, hence the uh, poverty will increase. Hence when poverty increase, we will see the food security will decrease, food insecurity will increase, and that will lead to starvation. So all these things are connected. So this is the thing. So what are the different steps taken by government of India? So the first step, which we know as National Nutrition Mission, that is Poshan Abhiyan, and it was started way back in 2018 by Ministry of Women and Child Development. Okay, they started it, and it was started to reduce the level of undernutrition and also enhance the nutritional status of children in the country. And the next we know is the National Food Security Mission, which is under Ministry of Agriculture, and it was initiated in 2007, way back in 2007. It was to increase the production of rice, wheat, pulse, and cereals. So these were the basic things which are necessary for removing the hunger, or removing the making a country food secure. So these were the things that a person should get, this kind of thing. And mm, there is also this zero hunger program, and it is launched in like 2017 with the aim to make farm invention, organizing the farming system, and this kind of thing. And also basically it is dealt with the farming system. And there is this Eat Right India movement, and this is an outreach activity program. This is an outreach program. And in this program, it is organized by Food Safety Standard Authority of India, Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, FSSAI, for citizen to nudge towards eating right kind of food. And also there is this Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana, and this is a centrally sponsored scheme. And it is also under Women and Child Development Ministry, and it is a maternity benefit program. So see, the word is still Matru Vandana, that will be maternity benefit program. So these kind of things can be important in like prelims, specifically this kind of programs. So if suppose this question is asked that this is related to like maternity benefit or like agriculture or anything, so if we are knowing this thing, we can simply click that Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana is related to maternity benefit. And also there is this food fortification program, so that everybody should get different kind of vitamins and iodines and everything. There is this National Food Security Act, which is legally entitled up to 75% of rural population and 50% of urban population. 75% of rural and 50% of urban population to receive subsidized food grain under targeted PDS. Okay, under PDS. So subsidized food grains for 75% of rural and 50% of urban people. And also there is this Mission Indradhanush, and it targets children under 2 years of age and pregnant women for immunization against dual vaccine preventable disease. So this is basically a immunization program. So Mission Indradhanush is there in many kind of thing. Basically in other ministries also we will see that Mission Indradhanush is there, but here it is like a kind of vaccine preventable disease program. Okay, so moving on. So what are the global initiative? So there is this End to Poverty initiative, and this centenary initiative is designed specifically as the vehicle to take forward the International Labour Organization work in implementing 2030 agenda for sustainable development goals, okay, of eliminating poverty. And also there is this Zero Hunger by World Food Program, and this is like a humanitarian food assistance which provide nutrition food to those in urgent need. And meanwhile the complementary programs address the root cause of hunger and build the resilience of community. And there is this also First Hunger First program, which is vision to have a world without hunger and poverty. And with this wealth hunger life, that is WHH, has been implementing several initiatives in rural areas of India. So this is basically concerned to rural areas of India and Bangladesh, and it was set up by UN FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. And also there is this Zero Hunger Challenge, Safe Food by FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, and the 2012 United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development, all which is also known as Rio Plus 20, launched this program, which includes addressing the sustainability of all food system and the vision for zero food loss. Okay, so moving on with the other news. The other news is regarding art and culture. So this drama is kind of important. That is Chintamani Padya Natakam, and the Andhra Pradesh government has brought the curtains down on this popular drama, and this is for about like 100-year-old drama. And the government decision on Monday was to ban the staging of play uh, because of the response of the representation submitted by members of a particular community objecting to certain dialogues and portrayal of character in the Telugu play. So this is basically a Telugu play, and some of the dialogues were very objectionable. So that's why this government have curtail this. And also this is written by kalakari narayan rao kalakari kalakuri narayan rao. So these kind of facts are kind of important in prelims, because they can ask that Chintamani Padya Natakam was written by whom. So if we are knowing, we can write Kalakudi Narayan Rao. And also it was like set up in 1920. And there are certain names which are very famous in this drama, that is Subbaseti, Chintamani, Bilavagundam, Bhavani, Sankaram, and Srihari. So these are few names, and these names could be important for prelims perspective, because as we all know, prelims are getting more and more dicey. So this could be a point. So we have to remember this thing, at least if we are seeing this thing. And also a PDF document of all this thing will be uploaded to our Telegram channel. So if you are a regular subscriber of our Telegram channel, you will be knowing this thing. And in this play, the writer explained how people neglect their families by falling prey to certain social evil. So people neglecting family, these are the basic point, because this kind of questions can be made, because if something is there in news and government is dealing, that is kind of important for prelims and for UPSC perspective. So they can ask this drama, and it is associated with what, so people neglecting family due to social evils. So this can be done. And so moving on with the next news. So there is this drone attack, as we all know, happened in Abu Dhabi. And this was termed as the terming the drone attacks by Houthi rebels in Abu Dhabi. And that left two Indians dead and two others injured. India said it is as unacceptable. And the foreign minister, that is Jairam Shankar, Mr. Jaishankar, has told this is unacceptable. And the Ministry of External Affairs said and condemned the attack, and emphasized that in this day and age, such an attack on innocent civilian was completely unacceptable and against all civilized norms. And a statement has been issued by UAE Foreign Ministry also, and they have expressed India's strong condemnation and denunciation of the terrorist attack by the Houthi militia on civil areas and facilities in the UAE. So first we have to know a little about this Houthi and the Houthi insurgency, and a little geography of Yemen also. So Yemen is like sandwich between Red Sea and Arabian Sea, and there is this Gulf of Aden, and there is this strait here that is known as Bab el Mandeb. So this is the thing. So see, there is this in Yemen. What is happening is that there is this conflict between Shia majorities area and Al Qaeda operational presence. So this area in orange is kind of a Shia majority area, and some of them formed under, like in Saudi Arabia also. And this area is Al Qaeda, and that we all know is a Sunni organization. With their followers are basically following the Sunni version of Islam. And this area is Al Qaeda dominated. And this whole area is like of kind of a strong hold for Houthi, and these are Houthi controlled area. Okay, so moving on, so a little background of the conflict and Yemen conflict. So since 2014, it started all in 2014. Yemen has been facing multi-sided conflict involving local, regional, and international actors. The Houthi, that is a group of Zaidi Shia Muslim. So whenever Houthi is concerned, it is Zaidi Shia Muslim who ruled a kingdom there for nearly 1,000 years, and used widespread anger against President Hadi's decision to postpone long-awaited election and his stalled negotiation over a new constitution. So this all started back in 2014, and they would like kind of go against the President Hadi, and they marched from their stronghold of Sada province to the capital Sana'a, that is Sana'a, which is the capital of Yemen, and surrounded the presidential palace, and put Hadi under house arrest. So Saudi Arabia, as we have seen here in the map, this is Saudi Arabia, and it is close to like Yemen. So they intervened, and a military coalition led by Saudi Arabia intervened in March 2015, at Hadi's request, after the Houthis continued to sweep the south and threatened to conquer the last government stronghold of Aden, prompting one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. And also after that, a ceasefire was announced. Yemen Houthi rebel and Saudi-backed forces loyal to President of Yemen agreed to a United Nations mediated ceasefire in 2018. A ceasefire was done. So what are the different concern to that? So Yemen is strategically important. Yes, because see, Yemen is strategically important because it sits on the strait linking the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. So see here, this is Red Sea, this is Gulf of Aden. So that's why it became strategically important, and it also worries the West because threat of attacks such as Al Qaeda or IS affiliates emanating from the country became more unstable, and the Houthis have escalated cross-border talks attacks on kingdom even after United States designated the rebels as terrorists and stepped up effort to de-escalate the 6 year conflict. And also the conflict is seen as a part of regional power struggle between Shia ruled Iran and Sunni ruled Saudi Arabia. So a power struggle is also going on over there, and also geostrategically this portion of Houthi or the Yemen is very important. So moving on, what are the India's interests? For India it is a challenge. No doubt it is a challenge which cannot be washed away, taking into consideration the oil security, because that's a major oil area, and 8 million expat living in the region. About 8 million of Indians are living in that area around Middle East and Yemen, and like uh, there is about 80 billion of remittance from that area. So India interest is basically there. And few years back there was this Operation Rahat was launched in 2015. Operation Rahat, when this all insurgency was happening in Yemen. So India launched a massive air and sea operation to evacuate about 4,000 Indian national from Yemen in April. And there was this also humanitarian assistance being provided by India. So humanitarian assistance was also provided, and India has provided food and medical aid to Yemen. And in the past, thousands of Yemeni nationals have availed medical treatment in India, and also India continues to facilitate education of large number of Yemeni nationals in various national Indian institutes. So Yemeni national are like taking education in Indian institute. So these are the humanitarian assistance India is providing. So moving on to the next news. So next news is about National Commission of Women, and a consultation was organized by this National Commission of Women on amendments to criminal law on Tuesday, and there was this unanimity among the speakers that marital rape should be criminalized. And the meeting also discussed rising instances of cybercrime, and we all know that this bully by was happening few days back. So it also discussed that cybercrime against women and need for gender neutral rape laws, because gender neutral rape laws so were discussed here. And the meetings come at a time when the Delhi High Court is having multiple petition on marital rape. Okay. And if they are thinking of they are taking government, this is center, what center is telling that how they are going to form a law against the marital rape. And on the issue of age of marriage being raised from women from 20 years to 21 years to make it equal to that of men, most speaker here agree that 18 years should be the age of marriage for both men and women. So moving on, let's know a little bit about this National Commission of Women. So this is a statutory body because this came after from the constitution itself. So this is a statutory body, and this generally concerned with advising the government on policy matters affecting women. So this can only advise the government, and it was established in 1992 under the provision of Indian constitution. And there was this National Commission for Women Act. That's why this is a statutory body, and the first was Jayanti Patnaik. And what are the constitutional provision to that? So the Indian constitution doesn't contain any provision specifically for women intrinsically, but article 15(3) and article 14 and article 21 protect and safeguard women. So they are more kind of gender neutral, but women safety is there in these kind of articles. So what are the objective of National Commission of Women? So the objective is to represent the rights of women, represent rights of women in India, and to provide a voice for their issue and concern. And the subject of their campaign is to have include things like dowry, politics, religion, equal representation of women in jobs, and exploitation of women in labor. These kind of topics they generally cover, and they have discussed police abuse against women also. So these are the basic like kind of objective we can say, and basically we can say whatever things which is concerned to the operation of a woman that could be discussed in National Commission for Women. So what are the composition of National Commission of Women? So a chairperson is there which is committed to cause of women, to be nominated by central government. So this chairperson is nominated by central government, and five members to be nominated by central government from amongst person of ability, integrity, and standing, who have had experience in law or legislation, trade union management, or we can say women's voluntarily organization, including women activists. So one chairperson is there and five members which are nominated by the central government itself, and provided that at least one member each shall be among person belonging to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. So out of these five members, one member is from scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. So basically to have the diversity across this panel, so one chairperson and other five members, and one member is from scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. So what are the different function of the NCW, that is National Commission of Women? So they present reports, like the table report should be submitted to central government every year they present a report, and when the commission feel it's appropriate, the reports upon the functioning and working of the safeguard of women are kind of presented. And also they can help in investigation and examining investigation purpose also. There should be proper investigation and examining made under the constitution and other laws. This is related to protection of rights of women. And also they used to review laws. So what it means by reviewing laws? So constantly all laws are reviewed and scrutinized, and necessary amendments and alternation are made to meet the need of the current world situation, which is concerned to women's safety and different kind of thing. And also it deals with cases of violations. For example, they ensure that there is no violation against women, and taking due care of such cases. And also they took suo moto of some cases. Suo moto notice is also there. It takes care of complaints and also suo moto matters about the deprivation of rights of women and implementation of laws favoring the welfare of the women. And they kind of do one evaluation also, that how the women's safety is working in India. And they also do some special studies and investigation basically related to women's safety and their development. So a special investigation is also there. So these are the basic function of this NCW. And the powers is that they have not any concentrated power. So no concentrated power is there. No concentrated power, because the NCW is only recommendatory in nature and has no power to enforce his decision. And speaking of legal powers, a commission lacks constitutional status, and thus they has no legal power also. And that is, they cannot summon police officer or witness like that. And they have this funding issue also, because NCW function are dependent on the grants offered by central government. So these are basically working on grants, and financial assistance provided to the commission is very less, which can cater its needs. And there is also this political interference to NCW, political interference to NCW. So it does not have the power to choose its own member. It is chosen by the policy makers only. So there is this political interference also. So moving on with the next news. The next news is about Indonesia, and due to the rising sea level, Indonesia is trying to relocate its capital, and Indonesia Parliament have passed a law approving the relocation of its capital from sinking Jakarta to a site 2000 kilometer away on the Borneo island that will be named as Nusantara. So suppose if question is asked what is the new capital of Indonesia, so it will be Nusantara, and this home to more than 30 million people in its greater metro area. And Jakarta has long been plagued by very serious infrastructure problem and flooding and climate change situations. So early plans for the new capital depict a kind of utopian design, creating a environment friendly smart city, but few details have been confirmed, not much details have been there. So this is like Indonesia, and here is Jakarta, and here is this Borneo island somewhere across here. So they are planning to Jakarta is now going underwater due to this sea level rise. So they are planning to shift it from here to Borneo Island. So what is basically this sea level rise? So sea level rise is basically the increase in the water level of the world ocean due to efforts of climate change, especially global warming, which is induced by like three primary factors, and we will be discussing that primary factor also. And sea level is primarily measured using tide station and satellite laser altimeter. So suppose a question is asked how sea level rises there, suppose laser altimeter is there is an option, so we can know that it is used for measuring sea level rise. So moving on, what are the basic three primary factor of sea level rise? So the first is thermal expansion. So when water heats up, it expands, and about half of the sea level rise over the past 25 years is attributed to warmer oceans simply acquiring more space. So thermal expansion is there, and also there is this melting glaciers, because higher temperature caused by global warming led to greater than average summer melting of larger ice formation like mountain glacier, as well as diminished snowfall, and due to which winters and earlier springs are occurring, and all that creates an imbalance between runoff and ocean evaporation. So melting glacier is also one reason of sea level rise, and also there is this loss of Greenland and Antarctic arc sheet. As with mountain glacier, increased heat is causing this massive ice sheet that cover Greenland and Antarctica to melt. So these ice sheet are melting away and also moving more quickly to the sea. So due to which the sea level is also rising. So what is this rate of sea level rise? So globally, first we have to discuss globally. So globally, sea level has been rising over the past century, and the rate has accelerated in recent decades. So the average global sea rise is about 8.9 inches between like 1880 and to 2020. That's much farther than faster than 2700 years. So this rate is more far faster than that. So also intergovernment panel on climate change, that is IPCC, released a special report on ocean and cryosphere in a changing climate in 2019, which underlined that dire changing situation which is going to happen. And then after this global thing, that is global, we all know 8.9 inches have been risen up, and after this global there is this regional issue of this rate of CLR, because CLR is SLR is not uniform across the world, and regional SLR may be higher or lower than the global SLR due to subsidence and upstream flood control, erosion, regional ocean current, and variation in land height, and and different kind of weight of ice age glaciers. So the reason, suppose the global is 8.9 inches, and if suppose in India it could be less or it could be more than that. For that, India have to conduct a separate studies. So what are the consequences of SLR? That is simple: flooding will happen, biodiversity will be lost, and storm surges can happen, and migration could happen, and it also impact our infrastructure and also threat to our inland life and tourism and military preparedness. So there is this tourism and military hampering is also there, because tourism to coastal areas and military preparedness will also be negatively affected due to all this kind of thing. So what are the different steps to be taken? So first step people are taking is relocating, as we have seen in this case of Indonesia, they are relocating their capital from Jakarta to Brunei. And also second is they are building sea walls, people are building sea walls, so that um, a coastal development project is there. So the sea could not enter the main area of urban or the population where people is living, and also building enclosures are also been built. So researchers have proposed North European enclosure dam that is need enclosing all the North Sea to protect 15 northern European countries from the sea. So this is the thing. And what is their vulnerability for India? So India has about 7,516 kilometer of long coastline, 7516 kilometer of coastline India has, and it includes about 5,422 kilometer of coastline on mainland. So this is the mainland coastline of about 5,422, and 2,900 rest 2,900 2,094 kilometers on the island belonging to 9 states and 4 union territories. So the coastline account for about 90% of India trade. So the coastline is about 90% of account for India's trade, and it span about 3,331 coastal village and 1,382 island. So these are some data about India coastline. So okay, so 3,311 villages are there on coastline and 1,382 island are there on coastline. So these are about data. 751 total is 7,516. So this is the thing, and there are also many India effort is being done. So the first thing is coastal regulation zone (CRZ). So the coastal areas of seas and bays and creeks, rivers and backwaters which get influenced by tide up to 500 meters from the high tide line, and the line between the low tide line and the high tide line is declared as coastal regulation zone. Don't worry about the definition, we will be providing this on to our Telegram channel also. We have already uploaded the PDF of this, and the latest regulation also took into account rising sea level due to global warming. And there is this national action plan on climate change, national action plan on climate change. So what is this doing this this national action plan on climate change was launched in 2008 by the Prime Minister Council on Climate Change, and it aims at creating awareness among the representative of public, different agencies of government, scientists, industry and the communities on the threat posed by the climate change and the steps to encounter it. So this is regarding vulnerability and India's effort to maintain this high sea level rise. So, what are the way forward for India and the whole world? So, the Paris Agreement provides a clear vision on limiting global warming and limiting the sea level rise. So, Paris Agreement is one of the key thing here. And recently, the COP26, which happened, which is working on net zero emission, which will definitely like control world temperature so that the sea level rise cannot happen, is also there. And other steps include like switching from fossil fuel to clean energy, simply that will come into net zero, and like solar and wind energy, and like instituting carbon taxes should be employed to some industry which are giving more carbon to the environment. And this carbon sequestration is there by geoengineering and natural matter like restoring peatland and wetland, these kind of things. And we have to reduce afforestation and reduce deforestation, and we have to implement this kind of policy so that more and more forestation can be done. And we have to also subsidize research on climate changes, subsidize research on climate change so that a new way can come up, so that we can imply on that way, and the sea level rise could be controlled. So this was about today current affairs, and thank you so much. So see you tomorrow. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Telegram channel, Telegram and YouTube, so that you can get all this kind of information on there, and we will be updating that on daily basis. We are updating it, and see you tomorrow. Thank you.